Good evening, everybody. We are at the Arcona stand at Boot Dusseldorf 2024. Big news for Arcona and the Swedish shipyard this year, as they have won the 2024 Performance Cruiser Award of the Year. It's a big deal. Had a really good chat with Toby Hodges at Yachting World earlier at lunchtime, and we've actually got an interview coming up with him this September at the Can Boat Show about the entire selection and how they go through and select the boats and why they pick on certain points that they do. So, you know, it's been tested by quality people. It's won the award for a reason. Aft. See, it's the most sensible place to go. Before I get in behind the helms, we're indoors, so the backstays and so on aren't attached. You've got Selden adjustable backstays, which would make us assume that it's actually a Selden rig, mast and shrouds. We'll have a look at that in a minute. Underneath here, you'll see the transom. It's electric drop-down transom, and you actually have a tender garage and storage underneath here. We'll have a look at that in the inner section in a minute. And just going forward, go around the outer hull, this section here is for life raft and so on, or you can actually have it back here. Start with the helms as usual. Starboard helms, really nice carbon wheels, and it is in fact Jeppesen steering. I don't know if you remember that we actually delivered a 400 in the summer 2023. We were attacked and hit by orcas coming out of Gibraltar, so I'll leave a link for that up here and down in the description below. This one has been set up with B&G Zeus chart plotters, electric throttle control for your Yamaha diesel, Yamaha display with, right next to it, bow and stern thrusters. So everything you have is on this helm, and I'm pretty sure there's an option that if you tick the right boxes, you could probably have your throttle controls and everything else put over on the port helm too. Something I really like, which I think is quite a nice feature in this little cubby box, your electric shore power and all that can be just tucked away, put away, instead of going in a lazarette and getting tangled up with everything else. And also you can see you've got your shower when you're on your transom, fresh water, hot and cold water, and obviously the tap. It's a neat solution. And just next to it, Yamaha controls, B&G VHF radio, and there's the electric controls for your transom door. Obviously you can see it's marked up. To come over to the port helm, it's actually vacuum infused hull and decking system. This particular one actually has been set up, it's hull number 1, so it's been set up with FlexiTeak, which is really nice and less maintenance. And over here, once again, carbon wheels, and you have another B&G Zeus chart plotter. Port side, your hydraulic pump, your system for obviously your backstays, vang and all that is just here, so it's easy to get to, and your manual bilge pump. It's quite nice to see, you'll see all over that they're actually secure points for putting on your harness and so on. And just here on the port side you have a dedicated gas locker. Out the way, nice and tidy. And by each helm you have your lift point, both port and starboard helm. Right, hydraulic or an electric traveller system here. It's for your main sheet. It's nice and captive. Comes all the way to the end of the boom. You know how I feel about this, so instead of having a German mainsail system, you're attached at the end of the boom, which gives you more downforce, better control over the sails for trimming and so on, which gives it its performance DNA. And with your hidden track, you can take it outboard as much as you want. I'm going to go forward on the starboard side. I'm actually going to come over here. One of the things I really like about this boat, which you'll see that they've changed from their older models, is instead of before, you would have your, like a lot of the other boats, your winches are actually set up high on the coamings behind the seats and you're having to lean over to deal with them. Electric or not, you've still got to lean over and it's a bit of a pain. You actually have a dedicated section here for both your winches. So you have a Harken primary 60 self-tailing electric winch. I'll show you the electric controls in the moment. And a Harken 60 for your secondary winch, same size, self-tailing secondary winch, and something that's really cool, so it keeps the lines out of the way. You have really nice tail end storage for when your day's finished. And we're just one easy step over, and you can see on the side of the helm, so each helm, starboard and port, you've got your electronic 2-speed Harken controls. Really nice high decks, good tow rail, a really nice feature that works. 2 features, and you'll see it over there. It has a dual purpose, so it works as a handrail, but it also raises up the back of the seat to give you better lumbar support when you're sitting down, which obviously makes it a lot more comfortable. It's little things like that that make things pleasurable, especially when you're spending this sort of money on a boat. Spray hood folds away, obviously comes forward. I'm going to leave a link to an interview to a company in the Netherlands, a startup I did earlier today. I'm going to leave a link to them because they've got a really nice product and I think you guys are going to like it. So we'll put a link to that in the description below. Fuel, water, same as everybody, and you have access both starboard and port to shore, and large pop-up cleats. So you have a cleat midships, forward and aft, and they pop down nice and smooth. You're not going to worry about catching your sails, you know, and they're out of the way. Nice grab handles as you go forward, and that runs straight to your tracks. And you'll see with your track gear for adjusting for your genoa, lines run through the deck, so everything can be done from the cockpit. Whew. Harken deck gear, self-tacking jib. If we had full mast and you had all your halyards and reefing lines and everything, you'll see, but obviously everything comes down onto pulleys. You have a deck management system, runs all the way through the deck and then over to your bank clutches at the helm. Pretty nicely set up. Your hatches, all flush hatches, they're Lumar hatches, so you know it's quality. You know it's well made. The stainless steel is well made. Just forward you can see the in-deck furler. Before I go all the way forward, we'll do the windlass. So windlass is actually hidden away in a locker, and you've got the, you know, pretty much standard remote control genoa, or set it up for a jib if you wish, and then a fully integral bow sprit with option for Jenica, Code 0 and Spinnaker. I'm not going to get down in this one. I did enough of that with the other boats. But you have a huge locker, so enough to put all your sails, spare sails, fenders, lines, paddle boards, anything like that. And then just here where the ladder is, you actually have a crash bulkhead, so a watertight bulkhead, and your chain is collected on the starboard side in a really nice chain well. You know, just a handy little spot. Twin cockpit tables, so obviously all the leaves can fold up, so it gives you huge entertaining space. One of the things that's a benefit on larger boats, so 50 foot and upwards, people don't understand why they split the cockpit tables. One, because it gives you really good access way through the cockpit area, but two, you imagine big boat and your table's right in the middle and you're sat there, you've got to have very long legs to be able to support yourself on the table on the hill. So at least if they're set off like this, it makes sailing a lot more comfortable. Companionway washboards are nicely hidden away, which is really cool. Just pop up on gas struts. Really nice system. Just by companionway hatch, you have your repeaters. So all B&G instruments, you know, you can configure them how you wish. And then coming down into their new space, there's a choice of woods and interior. This one has been set out with European oak. It's quite nice. I think they've done quite a good job. You can see with the cupboards, a lot of them, they've been able to match, mostly, not everywhere, but match the grain as much as they can with the veneer, which is pretty good. And this is hull number 1. So I should imagine there might be changes in the future. I think they've done a really good job of modernising these performance cruisers, making them more luxury, a little bit more premium. I'm going to start on the port side. There are options for the cabins. As you can see, this one's actually is 2 singles, and you can have an infill to make it a double, or you can have it as a double cabin. And it's the same on the starboard side. You have access to engineering services down there. As I said before, this is a Yamaha engine. Pretty nice reading lights, and it's nice to see a really large opening hatch going into the cockpit full draft. Nice port lights. One of the things that's nice, I've actually got a really nice sort of like a foam backed, I don't know what the insulation is underneath the foam, but it's soft underneath the material, sorry. So it's giving you some insulation and a nice material, and they're really nice fiddles along here. There's just a few attention to the things, to details that are really nice. Reading lights and overhead lockers. So that's, you know, 4 along the top here, which is ample, and a nice sort of like port light window up there. It is reasonable cupboard space in here, nice hanging locker, fire extinguisher, very important obviously. And the milled aluminium locks, and these are the same that are on the Allure 51.9, so you know they're quality locks. And these little touch button light switches, really nice. So self-closing drawers, and a cupboard with a shelf down here. Really good. So port side, there are 2 configurations for the galley. You can have L-shape or U-shape galley. Some images will be coming up on the screen sometime to show you the difference. I quite like this U-shape galley. Really nice Corian top with small fiddles on. And obviously, I'm not going to open all the drawers, but you know, nice set of smaller drawers there and some larger cutlery drawers. It's nice to see, like with boats like this, they're still inset with timber and not plastic. So, you know, shows you there is still quality, and obviously you can put insets to manage if you've got sharp knives and other bits and pieces in the other drawers. So it's just good thinking. 3-burner gimbaled gas stove. Now, if you remember when we were on the Alubat and we're all going crazy over the sink, this cooker goes with the sink, and it's the same company. So within the cooker, you'll see some of the trays and stuff like that. Some of the others are actually put away, and then I'll bring you over to the sink and you'll recognise the sink. So we have that same sink system, which, you know, we've all said is a really good idea So you'd have the other tray that goes in there that you can either put your bits in or use to bake bread, and then you have your, you know, this one that comes out, or the full tray that you can use as another tray. Really, really good. Hot and cold fresh water. This is good, heavy quality Corian. You know, can't say more really. It's good quality. Top loading fridges or freezers. What a good idea to use a camera lens to put the springs back. But there we go, plenty of storage space in there. And as you know, my favourites, I like slideys. I think they're very, very good in a galley space. And then up here, there are options if you want to have microwaves and stuff like that. I quite like the way the design's been done. It's just been well thought out. There you go, little coffee puck espresso machine, and obviously all top down, drop down cupboards, and they're vented cupboards for condensation and so on. It's really good. You have 2 opening hatches above the cooker. You have all that light coming in, and we'll have a look. There are 2 opening hatches centrally into your saloon. So not only can you see what's going on with your mainsail, but you can open these hatches opposite to allow the draft through. Couple of mains plugs, got your air conditioning controls, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 overhead lockers there, 4 along there. And then we'll come over into the starboard side quickly, aft cabin. Once again, this can be a double, or you can keep it as 2 singles and have the infill. But you know, for the kids, this is just, I think it's really nicely set out. Similar to the other cabin, you have an opening hatch into the cockpit, and obviously your port light windows. The cupboards are pretty much exactly the same. So this cabin mirrors, and then you have a very large opening hatch there that will take you into mechanical spaces, and the same down here. We will look in the engine space towards the end of the tour, and then just down on the right hand side and starboard side of the companionway, you have your electric freshwater flush toilet. Hi everybody. And then behind the door there is in fact a separate shower. And to give you an idea of headspace, not being rude to the Swedes or anything like that, but in the Netherlands they're all very tall people. It's obviously this boat's being built by the Swedes, so height wise there's no issues whatsoever. Opening hatch for ventilation, and obviously there is storage. I can't open it because of the door. There is storage underneath, really nice little light switches. Hot and cold water, and some very nice, there's a plug up there, so for hair dryers or charging your toothbrushes. I know people probably don't think that's massively important nowadays, but it is. And then just handy little storage areas. That's really good. Coming out there, so the option is, this one's actually been set out with a side facing nav station. I actually quite like it this way. I know there's always this discussion over forward facing and so on, but most of it nowadays it's all electronic and we use this more as an office space. But if you want a forward facing nav station, obviously it intrudes on that space, so you end up with a wet heads here and obviously larger navigation area. But I think this is fine, you know, you've got a fold out seat. We can get it to work. So you have a nice fold out seat, obviously that'll go further, and then a cupboard down here that takes you to switches, fuse box, breakers I think they call it in America, I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. And then a nice, you know, reasonable modern size place for mobile phones, charts or documents. And then down in here there are some mains plugs and all your light switches, interior lights for your mood lighting set here, and you have some nice reading lights that have been covered in stitched leather, so that's pretty cool. Right, business N, Master Vault system. There'll be a link in the description below for an interview we've done with Master Vault. Your generator controls, a B&G Zeus chart plotter, your VHF Fusion stereo, and your C-Zone control system. Once again, there'll be a link in the description below to a video we've done with these guys at Boot Dusseldorf. It's been really good chatting with them and learning more about the system. And nicely hidden out the way, you have all your switches for your lights, water gauges, fuel gauges and stuff. And I still like the fact that companies use proper gauges and not just digital displays. You have a backup. This seat is actually 2 meters, so it can be done as a sea berth, and 2 meters is 6 foot or 6'2" or something like that, so pretty good size. And then obviously over on the port side you have this really nice U-shaped galley, and obviously this settee is actually a little bit longer, so I think if you're about 6'5" or 6'7", there's enough room there to stretch out on. There is an option for a drop-down table if you want, but you know, this is a luxury performance cruiser. I don't think you need it. And this puffy cushion actually moves in and out to give you extra seating. As you can see, it is a keel stepped mast. There are 3 options for the keels on this boat. They're going to come across the screen now with both, you know, all options, keel size and shape for, you know, all tastes. And then the pièce de résistance, I quite like the fact you've got these really nice shelves, and there's material at the back. There's just little details, little things, nice rounded corners, and then the, you know, the mood lighting is set in, which would normally just be a boring bulkhead, but they've managed to make it better. And obviously, as you can see over here on the port side, you have an option for a television and shelving if you wish. It's just been tastefully done. The designers have spent time, and they're all sailors, which help, so they've spent time sort of understanding what they do. One thing I'd like to point out, and we'll do it as we come out, there's your 1 level living, so there's no sort of knocking on steps or anything like that. Opening hatch as you come into the owner's suite, and it's a full semi-island king-size berth, so very, very nice berth. You have a choice of materials. It's actually really nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, so 8, 10, sorry, because you have this side, 10 overhead lockers, so plenty of storage here. Those are those forward facing hatches that we saw earlier, and obviously there is mosquito netting, and then the other way forward there you have your privacy blinds, and it's the same over on all the port lights. I should have shown this in the saloon, but you have privacy blinds too, which is very cool. The bed lifts up on gas struts, so you have plenty of storage there, and there are some really nice good sized drawers there, or if you don't want to pull them out, then you can just go through the top, and there's obviously access to services there too, which is really cool. And then for the owner's cabin, you have a separate heads and shower. So once again, electric fresh water flush toilet. So it's good for those non-salt water odours, you know. And then you have your own separate shower, ventilation, all the usual bits and pieces, mirrors and more cupboard storage there. I think it's really nice. So as I was saying about the 1 level living, as we're coming out here, Obviously there's a choice of floors, options too, floor choices, but it's all one level all the way through. Under the companionway is obviously main access into your mechanical space. Powered by Yanmar. Specs will be coming across the screen. Pretty self-explanatory. We're all used to seeing this sort of stuff now. So, you know, salt water filters, oil filters, pumps. Back there where you can get to with the other hatch, you actually have your Panda generator. That's one of those side access panels there on this side down here in the cabins. It's clean, pretty typical. Looks like the sound insulation is pretty good. If we get on a test sail, we'll find out. I'm actually going to sit here. If you have any questions, if there's anything I missed, sometime we will be doing a factory tour as and when that's arranged. Possibly, or most possibly, a test sail with the English dealer, obviously in the UK. So if there's anything I've missed, if you like this boat, let me know in the comments below. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much.